Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse 1 here. Today is January 10th. It is Thursday, 2018. 19. One of these days I'll figure it out and get it right. But at least I got the date right this time. So anyway, time for a little tea chat here with this nice coffee mug. Are you ready for a shizzle hitting the fan? Okay, so we're going to jump right into today's video. We're talking about why is there such a large burnout rate in nursing. Okay, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. And there is huge turnover in nursing. People do not stay in nursing. They get into nursing with the best intentions. I think a lot of people get in, to nursing because it's like, they want to help people and they want to make a difference. And once you get into, so we're going to talk about a couple different things, okay? We're going to talk about home care. We're going to talk about facilities as far as nursing homes. We're going to talk about hospitals, and those type of places, and so in the difference, okay? Home care in nursing, I think, is still really, really rewarding because you are able to take care of a person one-on-one and give them the kind of care, not that they should have, but the kind of care that they deserve, okay? So home care nursing is still probably, to me, the most rewarding way to do nursing. You really get a lot of job satisfaction with that. A lot of times the families are very appreciative of what you're doing. Sometimes they're not. They can still be demanding. You get residents that you take care of or clients that you take care of, and some of them were a-holes in life, and they're a-holes in the last part of their life as well. But for the most part, I have to say that home care is super, super rewarding. I did a lot of home care through the years, and I found it very, very, very rewarding, and I really, truly enjoyed that. I was with one family for 17 years. I was with them the first 9 years, or 8, the first 8 years I was with them. I did 2 10-hour shifts a week with them, and then I filled in other jobs. The last 9 years that I was with them full time. So I did 50 plus hours a week with them for the last 9 years that I was with that family. And then he passed away, and that's why it ended. But, just fantastic people, very appreciative. The wife actually was a director of nursing at a dialysis unit, and just a fantastic lady, very, very intelligent, very, very sharp, and she was an awesome boss. I'll be honest with you, she's fantastic. So when I was doing that, like I said, that was great. And now talk about nursing homes, and there is a lot of politics, a lot of BS that goes into nursing homes. And I got to say, I got a comment yesterday, and I'm going to address this directly on here, from a DON, which, and those of you that don't know nursing terms, a DON is a director of nursing. So they're like one of the big wigs of a nursing facility. They're like the top nursing administrator in the facility, and then above them is like your administrators, okay? And so the DON is way, way up there. And she was giving me all this stuff about, well, why weren't you helping, put people into bed? If you knew this woman wanted to, the story that I told the other day, she said, if you knew that this woman, wanted to go to bed, why weren't you helping, and that type of thing. And I gotta say, and I'm not trying to be an a-hole saying this, just, I shoot from the hip and I say it straight out. I was at that facility for a grand total of 3 weeks before I quit, because they would put nurses in such unsafe situations, it was ridiculous. I really did not know the floor. I got 2 days of training on one side of the floor, and then 2 days of training on the other side of the floor. And my first weekend alone, on my own, without somebody orienting me, they tried to make me do the whole floor by myself both days, and I flat out refused and would not accept both sides of the floor. I would accept one side, and that's what I did. I'm going to protect my residents first, and I'm not going to put them in an unsafe situation. But I'm going to get back to this DON in a second. So she was giving me all this, why didn't you know, and stuff like that. When you have that many residents that you are trying to do a med pass on, to do treatments on, to try to make sure that and she tried to say that, I'm sure that there was no nurse there in the dining room when dinner was there. Yeah, we had to be there when they were eating. And both of the nurses were there during eating, because you had two sides that were eating. You had your feeders and you had your people that were independent. So you were not allowed to pass meds during dinner time. You had to be in the dining room with them, helping to do feeds and all this type of stuff. But thank you for assuming. And she said, well, why didn't you help? We helped as much as we possibly could, but we were so slammed with what we had to do as far as treatments and meds, and then you're dealing with family members, and this person wants this and this person wants that, which is totally understandable, okay? And it's insanity what they expect nurses, what they expect the CNAs to do, to try to get done in a time frame that you're given. It is absolute insanity, and you are running around with a chicken with your head cut off. There is no 15-minute breaks. You're lucky if you got time to eat your lunch. There is no sitting down to have your lunch. You basically, 9 times out of 10, and a lot of nurses are going to tell the same thing, you eat your lunch on your med card. I mean, that's what you have to do, because you don't have the time. And then, of course, then they want you to do all the charting on top of that too, okay? So, it's insane. It really, really, truly is. So the time is just not there to get things done in a timely manner in a facility. I don't care if it's a hospital or if it's a nursing home. So this DON, your number one responsibility as a DON, and I'm going to be, like I said, I shoot from the hip and I say it just like it is, they're CYA, which is cover your A, okay? So that's their job. They're trying to make sure that the state don't come in and do inspections and all that type of stuff. And here's the biggest joke that I ever saw in my life, to be honest with you, with nursing homes or hospitals or whatever. So the state comes in for their inspections, right? And they're running around like a chicken with their head cut off. The state's coming this week. The state's coming this week. We got to do this. We got to do that. So they're making sure there's more than enough staff and all this type of stuff. And but they know when the state is coming, because they're given a heads up ahead of time. What is that? If you really, the state, if you're, like New York State, if you want to come in and inspect these nursing homes to find out what's really going on, go in there when they don't expect you to come, okay? Because now here's a funny story I'll tell you. So the state's in there, and you got your nurse managers are out there, and they're feeding people, and they're being involved and stuff like that. And there's one old gentleman said to the nurse manager, "What are you doing?" And she goes, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, you're not out here any other time. Why are you out here now?" That's how it is, folks, okay? Nurse managers, DONs, they're in meetings and doing all this important paperwork, and yeah, they don't give a crap. Trust me when I say that, okay? They're dealing with families and, giving them BS. I have seen so much, and like I said, I'm gonna tell some stories. Okay, I'm gonna tell some stories of the different things that I've seen and things that I have dealt with. But it's just management. So and let me say this. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you my first nursing job after I got done with nursing school. So I worked in a small nursing home, which is no longer there, and I won't even say what the name of it is. But it was a SH Whole, okay, nursing home. But it was the first place I got hired at, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go here and I'm going to work. I was working day shift, and I started out, I was trained on the second floor, and I got hired for the first floor. The nurse manager on the second floor, I'm going to take my hat off to this woman, because she set a shining example of how a nurse manager should be. She would come to work in scrubs, and nursing is always short-staffed, okay? So that's the main reason the burnout rate is so high. But this woman would come in and she would be in scrubs. She would help feed. She was changing people. She was really, truly involved. Now, lucky me, lucky me, my nurse manager was a 22 or 23-year-old young lady that was just out of her 4-year degree of nursing school, and she was the nurse manager on my unit. And she was getting ready to get married to the Weather 8 newsman. Now, we're going back many, many, many years ago, so I don't know if he's still the newsman in Rochester, New York or not. But anyway, she spent her time dressed to the nines, never came out on the floor. She would be back in her office, and she was making her plans for her wedding to this newsman. That's what she did, okay? True story, guys. I'm telling you, I can't make this stuff up. I'm just telling you the way it is. She didn't lift a finger to help. So when my time there at that facility was done, I said to her, just so you know, everybody on the unit hates your guts. I said, if you came out of your office and helped somebody once in a while, they might like you a little bit better. Well, she didn't like that either. So, but I've always said it just like it is. The reason that I am the way I am, I speak my mind. I say it like it is. A lot of times in facilities, they don't like that. They don't want you to have your own mind. They just want you to do what you're supposed to do, go through the motions, shut up, and not make any waves. Well, that's not me. That's not how I roll. The burnout rate, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. So I got off on these little tangents, and I'm sorry, but we're going to talk about the burnout rate. When you have, I'll give you another example of why a burnout rate is so bad in nursing. Worked in a facility, county facility, okay? Now I work night shift. So what they would do if on the night shift, if a nurse called in, so the way that the policy was, so like say Unit B, the nurse didn't come in. So you're talking about a 40-bed unit that you have to, meds and treatments and everything still have to be done, but that person is called off, okay? So you had everybody else in the facility. We would have to take an hour out of our shift from our unit, go over to that other unit to do whatever had to be done, and then in the morning what they would do is they would take 2 nurses, pull you off of your unit, and have you go ahead and pass the meds on that unit. So each of you would do like a side. So you would have like a whole hour in the morning as well that you would have to be passing meds on people that you didn't know what the whole routine was, and you had to kind of rely on the CNAs to kind of give you a heads up of what, how this person wanted it and this type of thing. So, it was crazy. There was a couple of nights, and this is no lie, so we had, I think it was 6 units in this facility, okay? We had a couple of nights where 3 nurses called off. 3. So I had to take care of my unit and another unit all night long by myself. So now you're talking about, 45 people on my unit, 45 people on the other unit, and you're responsible for taking care of everything. And of course, then they still want all their BS paperwork done on top of everything else. It was absolute insanity. And the turnover rate was just ridiculous. Ridiculous. And if you spoke up or if you made any waves, man, you were gone. So what happened to me at that facility, and I'm going to be 100% honest, I made waves. I pissed some people off because I speak my mind. 2 days before, you were on probation, a probation period for 6 months, okay? And in that 6-month period, they can let you go at any point in time. And what happened at that facility, 3 days before Christmas, I was 2 days away from having my 6 months in. They called me up and let me go. That's how those type of facilities work. Because after the 6 months, then the union would protect you, and there's nothing, then they have a really hard time getting rid of you. But if you're going to make any kind of waves or give them any kind of static, you are gone. So, but you were looking at that same facility, okay? CNAs would get mandated all the time. So you worked your 8-hour shift, they're short on the evening shift or they're short on the day shift. Now you work nights, let's say. Now they're short on the day shift. You're mandated. Now they were allowed a couple of times to refuse the mandation, but that was it. After that, if you refused mandation, you were gone. They would go through AIDS, boom, just like that, because people would get burned out. When you would work, you work today and got mandated 16 hours. Then the next day you might be lucky if you got to work your 8-hour shift. Then the next day, guess what? Boom, you're back at the top of that mandation list. You're mandated again. So if you're pulling 16 hours, then maybe 8, then 16 again. And if you're lucky, maybe 8. It depends on if people show up or not. And then if you got people refusing to be mandated, it's a whole ridiculous game. And then of course they were firing aides. There was a class that went through there was 21 aides that went through a class, and after 4 months out of those 21 people, I think 2 were left. I mean, it was ridiculous. They couldn't keep anybody. I look in the local penny saver and I see that ad for that county facility all the time. LPNs, RNs, they want supervisors. And they were going through supervisors like crazy too, okay? CNAs, they're always looking for people. And they paid fairly decently, and it was a county job. But they just treated people like crap. The other thing that they would do all the time, everybody would be writing everybody else up. I never played that game. I don't play the write-up game. If you screwed up and you were my CNA, what I would do is I would sit you down and I would talk to you. And I would actually give you that second chance too. Now the third time, if I've talked to you about the same thing twice, the third time you were going to get written up. But I don't do write-ups. I would rather take you as an adult, sit you down, talk to you, and try to explain, listen, you need to really pay attention to this because these are the things that are going to happen. But it's insanity, guys. It is just insanity. And who suffers at the end of the day? You got your nurses are burnout, your CNAs are burnout, they're overtired, they're overworked. Who suffers? The residents suffer. Those poor people that are in these facilities that don't have a choice, that are basically waiting to die, they're the ones that suffer at the end of the day. In management, DONs, nurse managers, administrators, they could care less. Because if they did care, they would get enough staff in these places and keep the staff, train people properly, and have enough people there to take care of them. Okay? So, now, please, feel free. I'd love to hear the feedback. That DON that left a message, feel free. I'd love to hear your feedback. Now, I will say, like I said, not all administrators, not all DONs, not all nurse managers could care less. But I'm going to put that percentage at 95% of those people could give a rat's behind about the people, about the staff. It's all about the bottom line, okay? Maybe there's some of you out there that were in those positions that really tried and really cared, but it's few and far between. And I'm going on 29 years of experience in the business, okay? That's in New York, that's in North Carolina. It didn't matter. Same situations, same thing happens. All games, all politics, a lot of BS. So please, I'd love to hear the comments. So talk about your stories. Tell me. I mean, and it's funny because I'm hearing it from RNs, I'm hearing it from LPNs, I'm hearing it from CNAs. Probably the most rewarding thing that I've ever done in nursing is home care. And that's the truth, because you're able to do that one-on-one care and give them the kind of care that these people deserve. Okay, so that's my story. It's probably drawn out now. Miserable day here today, snowing like crazy. Got a little bit of solar in. Not a great day for solar, but just very, very cold. Probably got about 3, maybe 4 inches of snow, but just the wind's blowing. Horrible, miserable day. Okay, so I'm going to try to say this name one more time because I keep saying it wrong. I know he goes by Marf. So, Marfugel, tell me please I said that right this time. Marfugel. Okay, so he goes by Marf, and then it's Marf and then Oogle instead of Google. So it's Marfugel. So, please, anybody out there, please tell me I said it right this time. I hope I did. So, anyway, guys, remember, we are all in this together. We truly are. Remember, hug and kiss the ones you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We really isn't. So we don't know whatever is going to happen. So tell the people that you care about how you feel. And remember STD, guys. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you are trying to accomplish, whatever you want to do in life, I don't care what it is, work at it methodically and you will achieve your goals. Don't let people hold you back. The only one that can hold you back with anything that you do is yourself. And when you realize that, it's a great awakening. Okay? So, really, focus. Don't listen to negativity. Have your dreams. Follow your dreams. And I'll tell you what, you have a whole lot happier life. You really will. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Have a great day. Prepper Nurse 1, out for now.